Hello and welcome to Positive Mental Attitude. My name is Nick, and at the end of August 2022 I had a stroke. I've made these videos to explain some of my experiences of having the stroke and my subsequent recovery. Today I'm going to talk about nature, which I suppose will sound a bit weird when we were talking about hospitals. This does cover hospital and being at home now. Hospitals, by their very nature, are completely unnatural environments. Nobody or hardly anybody spends up to 23 hours a day in bed, especially not surrounded by machines, beeping machines, Flowtron machines that are grabbing your calf muscles and making a noise, other people on the ward shouting for help or using the buttons that you get, alarm buttons. So an alarm goes off and we'll get someone to come in running to make sure that you're all right. Everything makes noise. You've got the clanking of trolleys as people come in and out. You've got industrial extractor fans, industrial air conditioning units. These are all completely unnatural sounds, stuff that you wouldn't really hear around the house. And in the hospital I was in, my bed was moved into 4 different locations. And from every single one of those locations, looking out the window, all I could see was another part of the hospital. And those parts of the hospital were painted a sort of battleship grey. It was corrugated, massive corrugated steel. There was nothing, no nature. And one of the first weeks I was in there was when I had one of my little episodes with the mood hoover pigeons, which is in a previous episode. I had a really bad night. I couldn't sleep. I was feeling anxious. I didn't feel normal. I didn't feel like myself. I felt like I was hovering above myself at times, witnessing what was going on below. And the physio turned up. And again, I was not really good, but the physio turned up and said, "Do you want to go outside today?" And it couldn't have come at a better time. It genuinely, I needed that right there and then. So they hoisted me out into a wheelchair and took me into the memorial garden to go and do some physio, some hand work and some eyes and head movement work, all about balance. And just being outside into the sunshine where they wheeled me out. There's some benches, there's a few people sat around, there were trees, plants. It was August, September, so it was still really, really nice time. It was warm back then. Sat out, sun on the face. I could touch leaves of trees and plants, smell the flowers. At one point a fly came along and flew into my face, something that normally you'd get a little bit annoyed about. I was delighted because it felt sort of natural. That's what would have happened at home. So I was delighted with that. And it was good for my spirit, it was good for my soul, just for that one sort of hour that we think we spent out there, just to feel that and to hear the sounds of nature. And when I say the sounds of nature, I don't just mean bird song or whatever. I mean the natural sounds that we would hear. So where I live, not far away, there's an aerodrome, and they teach people to fly. So especially during the summer months, or sort of the summery 6 months of the year that you get, where it's nice weather, the sound of a single engine light aircraft going ahead, just that nice quiet airplane noise in the sky, very evocative. I love that sound on a nice warm day. To hear that, to hear the thrum of the cars going up and down the main road outside the hospital, that to me, that's sounds of nature. That is what I would normally hear if I was at home. If I went and sat in the garden, I'd still hear those sounds. I'd get the same kind of sensations. And in the hospital ward, I didn't have that. And just for that little time being sat in a wheelchair, I did. And it made me realise how important nature is. You don't have to be someone who's out all the time going on walks up and down mountains singing falderie with a knapsack on your back. Don't need any of that. If you just go to the supermarket and you're outside and go to get in your car, just being out in the fresh air, hearing noises, hearing kids playing, babies screaming, all these things, the background to our lives that was missing while I was in the hospital. This also then translates over to when you're at home. I realised last week, I was just sat under the sofa watching telly. I thought to myself, I haven't been outside in over 2 weeks. Not only that, I haven't had a window open and sat by it, breathing fresh air. I haven't opened the front door and stood there. I just genuinely haven't interacted with the outside world in over 2 weeks. So I got my phone, I had to look at the weather, and the 10-day forecast was every single day 100% chance of precipitation. I looked outside and it was absolutely pissing down. It was blowing a gale. Rain was going sideways. So I got my walking stick and I went outside. For some reason I ended up looking like Michael Caine there, didn't I? A bit bizarre. And I went outside and just that feeling of the air being pushed into your lungs, not breathing it. The wind pushing air into your lungs. Rain spattering off your face. That, it meant a lot to me actually. Made me realise, even though I'm not a huge outdoors person, you've got to get out there. You've got to feel what nature is and allow it into your system, into your bloodstream, into your soul, into your spirit. Don't just sit there on the sofa all day long. Get out. Because part of the recovery, I think it's important. And you have to force yourself at times to do this. Because the easy thing is just to sit there and have a cup of tea and a biscuit and watch the telly. I mean, I'm doing all my physio work at home that I have to do. But still got to push yourself to go and do other things, or you will start to vegetate. And again, it doesn't really matter if it's a stroke or anything else. If you are capable to get outside, if you're able to, go and do it. Because when it's taken away from you and you're not able to, you can't physically get out of bed, you're not allowed to get up and walk outside. There's no pot plants or anything around you, which you obviously can't have in a sterile environment like a hospital. You then start to miss it. So make the most of it while you can, especially while you've got your health. While I'm talking about motivation as well, I think I've noticed since I've had no physio, I've been doing it at home myself. While I have been pushing myself to do the exercises that they left me, with the program that they left me and the things I know I have to do to get better, I am missing that bit of motivation that they provide. It's different. You push yourself as much, or you think you're pushing yourself. What they do, it might not be as pushy, but you get you to do more and better quality. That's why I'm missing that. If you're in the same position, might be worth trying to find someone, a friend, you can talk to about it and see if they can help motivate you and push you a little bit. Because it needs to be done. You're not going to get any better just sitting around. You have to move yourself. You have to improve. You have to constantly see if you can reach that little bit further with your hand. That's bloody sore, but I've got to do it eventually if I want to drive again and things like that. You need that motivation. We'll also talk about ambition. Again, something I didn't realise until I was in hospital is how your ambitions change. Now, while I was lying there, the realisation came to me that I don't want to be an astronaut or a train driver. I don't want to score the FA Cup winning goal anymore, nothing like that, all the things that I wanted to do when I was a kid. My ambitions changed. I don't think they were any less lofty than those, but they changed. And after weeks of pissing into a cardboard bottle, my greatest ambition in life was to stand in front of a urinal or a toilet and just have a normal piss into a toilet or urinal like a normal human being. It sounds stupid, but I was lying in bed at times thinking urinals, the ones that we have in gents' toilets in pubs, they are some of the most wonderfully crafted and designed things on earth. Please just weigh them up. A ceramic, porcelain urinal, a cardboard tube bottle that will occasionally splash back and make you bonanza your trousers. It's just no contest. My ambitions since then, because I can do that now, I've ticked that box. It's not an FA Cup winning, goal, but it's a back post header to your mate who skied it over the bar. At least I can stand there and pee into a toilet. The ambitions have changed. And again, these are stupid things. I want to be able to drive. Sometimes people don't tell you about as well. When you have strokes, there's two types of strokes. There's a TIA, and I can't remember exactly what that means, but it's a mini stroke. It's not a huge thing. I mean, any stroke is a huge thing, but it's not a massive one. It's a bit of a warning shot across the bows, and if you have one of them, change your lifestyle immediately. But there's the TIA, and I think if you have them, you're okay to drive fairly soon afterwards, about a month afterwards. If, like me, you've had a hemorrhage and there's a bleed on the brain, you have to tell the DVLA that you've had it. I am now not allowed to drive a car at all. When I get to the point where I can use my left hand a bit more, and I think that I'm safe, at that point I will have to get in contact with the DVLA, and I think I will have to be assessed to make sure I am safe. If my left hand isn't working as well as it should do, and I'm no longer able to use a gear lever, I may have to buy an automatic car. It may have to be fixed and messed around with so I can use it one-handed. Again, these are things that no one ever tells you about, and it's only when the wonderful people in the Stroke Association came out and spoke to me about these things that I found out that's what you needed to do. I want to be able to play the PlayStation again. I've got hours and hours where I'm sat around doing nothing but watching rubbish TV when I could be gaming. I really want to zig out. No, hang on. I want to play guitar. It's annoying being surrounded by guitars. The house is full of them, and I can't pick one up and just play. My daughter's learning. She's 16. I bought her a new electric guitar for Christmas, and I can't even show her some stuff because the left hand just isn't working. It's annoying the life out of me. If that come back and just add a bit more, I'd be happy. But I can't moan. I'm alive. I could have been dead now. So, silver linings and all that jazz. But yeah, you need to temper your ambitions, but don't give up on them completely. Change them to what suits you at the time. And once you get past them, you move on to the next ones. More of that, I think, in a very quick video I'm going to do fairly soon after this. Anyway, if any of this has been of interest to you, or you found it helpful, please consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the like button. That will help me grow this channel and get the message out to more and more people. Comment below if you've got any questions or anything, put them in the comments. I hope to see you in the next video. Until then, you only get one life. Do not throw it away.